On our previous two videos, we visited Toronto and then admired the majesty of Niagara Falls. Today we are back in Toronto on this rainy, misty morning, but not for long. It is our intention to begin driving east towards Kingston, Gananoque, and the famous 1,000 Islands of the St. Lawrence River. So, let's hop on our red car and hit the road, shall we? We're going to the 1,000 Islands. The quality, the enjoyment of your trip is highly determined by the quality of the weather. And on this particular occasion, Mother Nature doesn't really want to cooperate. The drive is nearly 3 hours, and the weather doesn't let up much. But we make a quick stop halfway near Trenton. We decide to take a secondary road to see some of the countryside. Now crossing downtown Trenton. There is a Canadian Air Force base nearby, hence the military plane landing. We drive through this trailer park, probably military housing, in order to see the river and the USA on the other side, but there's really not much to see here. So let's continue. And another military plane lands. The Air Force base to our left. We also pass by a town of Belleville, and eventually we reach our destination. Eventually we arrive at Gananoque, where we will board a boat for a tour of the 1,000 Islands, and our boat arrives soon enough. The 1,000 Islands is an archipelago in this wide area of the St. Lawrence River, northeast of Lake Ontario. It is, to be exact, 1,864 islands. The river is the border between the United States and Canada, so some of the islands are part of either country. Actually, for it to be considered an island here, it must be above water all year round, have an area of more than 1 square foot, really, just 1 square foot, and have at least one living tree. So that's so much more reasonable. Anyway, today we are visiting a small part of the archipelago, mostly on the Canadian side of the river, near the town of Gananoque. One curious fact is that the 1,000 Island dressing was invented around here. According to the Book of Knowledge, at the turn of the 20th century, some lady called Sophie Lalonde, who lived in Clayton, New York, served this type of salad dressing to her guests. Apparently, the vegetables in the dressing looked like the islands, and eventually the actress Mary Irwin and Waldorf Astoria's manager George Bolt popularized the name. Obviously, some of the islands fall under US jurisdiction, while the others are Canadian. The agreement in 1793 was that no island would be split in two within 100 yards of either shore, so the official border zigzags the area. Many rich and famous people have homes in these islands. I find it particularly interesting, all the small houses barely covering the surface of an island. Must be pretty cool and interesting owning property here for the 400 or so permanent residents of the area. My parents visited this place 10 years ago, back in 2003, and they took another tour, which leaves from Rockport. That's the northeastern part of the 1,000 Islands and arguably the more famous one. Let's go back in time with them. Here they got to see the Savicon Islands, which allegedly have the smallest international bridge in the world, but it's not really true. The actual border is actually 140 meters to the southeast. So don't believe everything the tour guide says. The They also got to see the Bold Castle on Hart Island. The castle was originally built in 1900, but abandoned in 1904 after the death of the owner's wife, which was George Bolt of the Waldorf Astoria. It was left in ruins until 1977, when it became a tourist attraction. Off we go! Destination Ottawa, Canada's capital. Before heading north, however, we are going to pass by the historic town of Kingston. Kingston was the first capital of Canada for a very short period of time, and it was originally settled as Fort Frontenac. British loyalists called it Kingstown in honor of King George III, and eventually the name was shortened to Kingston. It is a very historic city, mainly thanks to its strategic location. It's right on the spot where Lake Ontario spills into the St. Lawrence River. It is also in very close proximity to the border with the United States. The Rideau Canal also originates here, which goes all the way north through many locks to the Ottawa River. It was our original idea to eat here in Kingston, but it's around 6 p.m. and we decide to continue on to Ottawa non-stop. But that will be in another video. Meanwhile, enjoy the trip and see you on the road. I am Robert Morales, wishing you happy travels. Ciao!